I'm going to disappoint Bella and the rest of you because the remarks that I had planned, I threw out. I began studying our history and culture 50 years ago this year. And because of that, historical dates have always been important to me. Since the 1970s, I've produced programs that memorialize or celebrate historic dates. And when I got up this morning, I looked at the calendar and I saw that it was September 15th, and I was shattered. So this is what I wrote. Today, we remember and mourn Denise McNair, 11 years old, and Addie Mae Collins, Carol Robertson, and Cynthia Wesley, all 14 years old, whose young bodies were blown to pieces by a bomb planted at Birmingham, Alabama's historic 16th Street Baptist Church by white supremacist Ku Klux Klan cowards 60 years ago. 6 decades later, it's about time that we stop infantilizing them as, quote, 4 little girls, unquote, when in fact they were adolescents with their own agency on the verge of becoming young women. It's about time that we do something else too, and here I'm referring to the special responsibility of scholars who have utterly failed in this respect. We need to also remember and help others to know that 6 young black persons were slaughtered in Birmingham on that grim Sunday. Johnny Robinson, 16, was shot in the back and killed by a white cop. But unsurprisingly, the good white folks sitting on local and federal grand juries decided not to prosecute that mad dog killer. Virgil Ware, 13, was shot in the face and chest and killed by a white teenager. He was convicted of second-degree manslaughter, but the white judge suspended his sentence and gave him 2 years probation. I'd like to apologize to the young persons here today and to young persons throughout the country, because only a few years ago, the horrors that I just detailed would have been history. However, because my generation and the generation before me took our eyes off the ball by not maintaining the momentum of the modern civil rights and black power movements of the 60s and 70s, and because we underestimated how much white supremacy defines the identity of most white Americans, and how easy it is for the ruling class to blind white folks to their own exploitation and oppression so long as they can hate us, our dark past is becoming your present. Worse, if you're not able to challenge and check it, your reality might become even darker than ours, because white supremacists are openly planning to permanently institutionalize fascism, which is a fancy word for your eternal subjection. Given this, I'd like to suggest that you no longer have the luxury to study our history and culture, in particular our heritage of resistance, as an academic matter. In fact, in parts of this country, such as Arkansas, Florida, and Texas, you might not even have that option anymore, because in those states, holding a symposium like this might be illegal. It's a second nature to me because I'm a child of the 60s, a black power baby, as I call myself. As such, I've always believed that war was declared upon our people when our ancestors were brought to these godforsaken shores 5 centuries ago. So whenever I go to an archive, library, historical society, more meaningfully venture into our community and sit at the feet of our living archive, our elders, I'm looking for weapons. To me, books are bullets. Photos and videos are missiles. Memories are bombs. In many ways, your generation is fighting a harder battle than any generation before you, because these monsters are playing for keeps. They want and are organizing for permanent power. So don't study our history and culture to write academic papers in a language that's foreign to most of our people, that espouses high-minded notions that are irrelevant to the fight for freedom, justice, and dignity that our people are compelled to wage again. Translate our rich history and culture, in particular our heritage of resistance, into tactics, strategies, and a more durable vision of what your future and the future of your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren could be, must be, if this country and indeed humanity is to finally be freed of the noxious ideology, institutions, operations, and behaviors of white supremacy and racial capitalism. Thank you. Perhaps in the question period, I can comment on Bella June's brilliant work. I'm sorry, but today is September 15th, and this is not history.
Thank you so much, Paul. I want to just take a moment to reflect on the words that you left us with, because I think it is a unifying theme here, that presence is a kind of permanence, and that telling Black stories, from what I'm hearing of all of your work, that is polyphonic, that's collective and collaborative and symbiotic, is that recognition is the methodology. And it's a recognition that militates against the ephemeral and what is considered fleeting. And I think, Paul, your words here, that books are bullets and memories are bombs, is a powerful way for us to sit in that the stories that each of your projects not only excavate, but make permanent, make sure that they will stay, is to work against what would be considered fleeting. And so I think it's only fitting that you anchored us in that memory, and I thank you so much for that.